There. Well, good morning. It's Wednesday, and yes, I am back, and so is SubWed. Okay, Submarine Wednesday. Been gone for a while, and now I am back and pretty much jet lagged. Had been to Germany while I was gone, and got back at like 1 a.m. Yesterday. Yeah. So if I kind of fade away or doze off or things like that, it's, mostly because of jet lag. Oh, I see that while I was gone, not only do we have Landrus maximus of Sharkandia, which is the land shark, but apparently we have 3 other names of things. Somebody's been trading in a lot of name points. Hudifer Barrington, that's got to be one of the owl bears. Oh yeah. And Gagus ursus bubus, that's the other owl bear. The crimson clapper. That would be maybe this guy. Yeah, looks like this guy here that Nikki did must be the crimson clapper, because it's kind of red and it's got claws that probably clap. So I'm just looking at the work that was done while I was gone, and they're pretty impressive. I got to see a little bit of the stream where the parrot owl bear was done, and those feathers look really fine. Nicole does such a good job with these things. Even the eyes, like the yellow eyes with the black pupils. That's pretty impressive detail work. And that's why I keep saying she's so much better at it than I am. So anyway, I get to work on the submarine, and since I've been gone for a while, I need to figure out and remember what I was doing. I'm working on the control deck, and I've got almost all of these components painted already. I've got everything painted except these 3 things here, these tubes, which are the tubes into which the periscopes and the radio antenna go. And those aren't done yet because, if we might recall, they were the wrong length, and they're also in the wrong place. What was it, like 2 weeks ago? 3? It's been a long time. I was also starting to paint the inside of the hull so that the walls of the hull matched the wall colors of each of these decks. And I got the dark gray done, which is like the ballast tank and the areas underneath here. And I got the head up here, right up here, the bathroom or the head, I got that painted. And now I need to paint in large sections, the bunk room under here, and the mess hall, and crew quarters here, and this little section of crew quarters that goes onto the control deck. I think these like are officers because their bunks are bigger. Okay, they're not 3 high, they're only 2 high. So that's probably like officers' quarters or something. And those need to be painted light blue. And then the rest of the control room, and down here, underneath here, okay, this bit that goes under there is the gyro room. That needs to be painted green. And then there are control panels built into the hull as well, and those will need to be painted because if they show it all, we want to be able to see them. So I'll be doing that first. What will I do first? I'll probably do the actually I should do the green first because that's where the control panels mostly are. But the blue would be easier to define, and then the green last. Paint needs to dry in between those different sections. And then I need to, trial fit all of the decks into the hull to make sure that the lines of the paint inside the hull match the decks. You know, these things are, I don't know, they're like a 1/16 of an inch thick, so there's some give there, but you don't want, you know, if you got blue here and green here, you don't want the blue to go into the green area and vice versa, so there might be a little touching up to do. The main thing, though, is, as you might recall, these things here, the periscopes and all, are supposed to slide into these tubes, but they don't line up. And so I need to modify this entire base here so that I can put these tubes in the right place, measure them, cut them off, paint them, and get them going. And then I can prime this deck and paint it. And once that's done, I can get all of these parts assembled onto it. And then once that's done, then I can fill in all the holes underneath, because they'll show, you can look up into them from the side of the submarine, and paint the bottom of the deck. Fortunately, well, sort of fortunately and sort of not, yeah, I'm not sure. I can't recall. I think these decks are all painted the same color, regardless. I think it's all painted the same color. And then the ceiling of this is all painted light blue to match the quarters below it. But I'll double check that before I start putting paint on, which will be, I don't know, a million years from now, the way things are going. So here's my color chart. I need that because, you know, memory. And these are all the pieces we're working with here. Ta-da! This is the mess deck and the officers' room where they all sit around and, you know, draw pictures on the blackboard and stuff. This is tape that I no longer need to have on there, because I use that to, yeah, it's going to be that kind of day, isn't it? I use that to keep the light blue paint from getting onto the other surfaces when I painted the deck underneath. And now I can take that off before I go too terribly far, because I don't want that tape on there when it is eventually installed into the submarine. There's a mess. I'll just put the mess over to the side. So, who's not in chat? So I don't have to do a flip until who shows up. So there. Anyway, this turned out pretty well, I thought, including the galley details and things like that. Door handles and alarms and all sorts of little detail stuff, and that goes there. And as you can see, the control panels and the lockers all have a lot of stuff on them as well. Yay, detail. Oh yeah, and we can't forget all the itsy bitsy little bits of chairs, and there's a sink in there that gets put on somewhere. Mutter. So I do recall that who was dissing me while I was away and saying that Nicole was able to finish painting an entire model before I could even find the brushes. So before the stream today, I went and found a bunch of brushes. Now that doesn't mean I'll immediately be able to find the one I want, but just to let who know, I found brushes. There. Okay, where to start? Oh yeah, I need to paint the inside of the hull. And I need to decide here. Yep, that's the inside of the hull. And what I'm looking at doing is that here, that down further. I'm confused about what I was doing there. Excuse me a moment while I try to figure out what I was thinking. Yep, knocking stuff over. I'm doing a good job of doing that. That goes there. This goes here. This goes, yeah, I'm probably going to break things here. This goes here. Oh, I see what happened, yep. See how that, that just covers everything up. So you can't see past it. So I only had to paint the top part. Okay. So I didn't mess up. That's an important thing, is not messing up is a good thing. No, that's not fitting. There we go. That's where it goes like that. And that part's crooked, and that'll have to be straightened out somehow. You can see how nicely all these parts just do not fit together. This model is poorly constructed. I'm going to have to manipulate some of these just to even get them to fit. Nice. Yeah, watch me jiggle things around and not get things where they're supposed to be. Yeah, this deck is supposed to fit in here like that somehow. Finally, it's where it should be. And then this doesn't fit, so I'm not sure what I'll need to do. See how it's crooked? It's supposed to be straight, but if it's straight, then it's up too high. Anyway, yeah, each one of these parts is going to require some attitude adjustment before they work. So this one, for example, this bulkhead that's on there, see how it fits on the deck, is somehow interfering with the ability of the deck itself to fit into place. There. Okay. So it can work, but it's not easy. Yeah, anyway, since this is in and sort of in place, you can see these periscopes are supposed to come down. It's going to be a day. Hi-hoo. Yes, it is Submarine Wednesday again, and I'm trying to get parts to fit into the submarine, and of course nothing fits or works or anything. Okay, so the issue here is that these things are supposed to, I don't know if you can see it, but down here, way down there are like little divots, wells, and into those little wells go these tubes, okay, like that. And then these are supposed to slide into the tubes, but they are not lined up, okay? As you can see, they are off by quite a lot. And fortunately, it's fore and aft, not starboard and port. And so what I'm going to be doing to modify this is I thought about moving the whole deck, okay? Moving the whole deck back so that the holes lined up with where they needed to be. But that turned out to be incredibly challenging because I'd have to put a spacer in there and adjust these. So I'm simply going to change where the tubes go in. And I'm going to be doing that by carving away. I'll show you this way. use a pointer. Here's a pointer. They're supposed to line up here like this one. Theoretically, at least, should be there, but it actually needs to be here. Okay. So what I'm going to do is carve away the plastic all along here, so that instead of having round holes, there'll be a channel, and that channel will allow me to put the tubes wherever I need them. Okay, and then this is the place where the periscope chair goes, and that may or may not end up working, I don't know. But anyway, I'll be using a file, and I'll just be clearing out these 3 things so that there's a channel here instead of these 3 divots. And if I can get that to work, and I can get these to the right length, this one is the closest, but it's still too big, then I can measure those, cut them off, paint them, prime this, and paint this, and actually begin the process of installing all of these pieces onto here, and then hopefully actually get all of this into this section of the submarine. All of this stuff that's here, which represents 2, 3 decks, 3 full decks, goes into here, and once it's in here, then the forward crew and control areas of the submarine would actually be done. I'm considering that to be, that's going to be a major breakthrough if I can actually make it happen. And we'll see. Because as you saw, when I was struggling a little bit, even trying to get this forward bulkhead in place, nothing really fits. Nothing really fits the way it should. Lovely, huh? Okay, well, I've got all these really wonderful pieces. Look at all the, the nice detail on it, including the clock. Look at that. It focuses. There's even the clock there with hands and dial and everything. Yeah, so I'm going to start by marking off where the light blue paint needs to go. Okay, and then doing that, and that can dry, and while that's drying, I'm going to cut this channel. All right, and then after I cut the channel, it should be dry enough that I can put the green on. And once I get the green on, you can see these like junction boxes and control panels here and here. Then I'll paint those, get that detail on, and once that's done, yeah, then I can move on and on and on and on. And as I said, I'm still a little bit jet lagged because just got back very, very early yesterday morning, like 2 and 1 in the morning, and yeah, I'm starting to doze off already. Lovely. Okay, the main thing here is to test fit this bulkhead here, this bulkhead here. Okay, so I know that these bulkheads here go in here. This, okay. So I know that this area here between these 2 areas here, these little raised areas here and here, that's light blue. All right, this little chunk here is going to be green, and I know that I need to paint the light blue up to this line here, and that's fairly clear because it starts at this deck and goes across, and I can put a little piece of tape there. But there's also a light blue area here. Okay. That I need to figure out where it is. One end is there. Do this again, the thing I couldn't do before. Okay, that's how that fits. That actually fits. That's pretty nice. Okay, and that lines up there. So I've actually got, I actually do the light blue right onto some of that light kind of whitish color that I had before. And how do I mark that? I would do that with a pen, but I have discovered that the ink from the pen will sometimes dissolve in the paint. Yep, so here I am not having thought things through very well. Great. I'm trying to figure this out. I'm just gonna do this anyway. I'm just gonna make a mess. I suppose what I could do, is I could get a little light blue paint, right? I could actually put some light blue paint on the edge of a brush, right on the tippy tip of a brush, and actually touch it on the back there. I could reach in without making a mess of anything else. That's kind of a big if, isn't it? If I stare at this long enough, maybe it'll just do it itself. What do you think? Probably not. Yeah. So I'm gonna try that. I'm going to set this down and hope it doesn't move too terribly much. And stir up the light blue paint. Yeah, I know what you mean. Painting works by getting paint onto a brush and applying it to a surface. I don't know why I didn't think of that earlier. I mean, it only took me 20 minutes to think of that. And I need to do the flip yet, but it's just really going to have to wait until this is done. Because, yeah, I need to move this stuff out of the way. So when Nicole was here, I should have cleaned some of this up yesterday. There's just paints all over the place and knocking them down. About a month ago, the work surface was reconfigured to get me more room to work, but now it seems to be getting smaller and smaller. Nope, you never will. The flip might not happen for you. Okay, so that's stirred up. Everything here is in the way. That came off from where it was. This could be a really stupid thing. I'm not sure how this will go, but let me get kind of decent brush. I want it to not be terribly fine pointed, but I want to be able to control it. And this is what I will do. I'm going to knock everything off so that I have to reposition everything. There are just way too many parts, way too many little parts that don't fit very well. Sure that they're more or less vertical. Okay. So, this is going to work really well. I know that this is just going to be great. Can you see what I'm doing here? Is I'm trying to get the blue paint into the wall here so that I have a line. Those. Yeah, I have to touch up that fire extinguisher anyway, so it's not too much of a disaster yet. And then I'll do the same thing along this edge here. And if I get a little blue paint on the bulkhead, that's not a real problem because it's already blue. Theoretically now, got some new paint on there where I do not want it. Aw. Yep, it almost worked, except that this flipped over and got blue paint on the white paint. Nice, so I'll have to touch that. All right, that was, I don't know, 50% okay. I'm just going to let that set. I've got some work to do to fix all of that. But at least it gave me kind of a line to work with, right? Which was important. Get it on there. Good grief. Now I have to touch that up too. Yeah, the last 2 weeks. So without giving too much information away, I was in Germany visiting our new grandchild. Brand new little baby. And basically we were helping mom and dad with the first, the baby's mom and dad, not mine. Basically helping them out so that they could get some sleep, because the newborn, let's just say newborns don't always cooperate in terms of one's desired sleep schedule. They have their own. and grandchild. Yeah. Anyway, over the course of the time, went from hardly sleeping at all, it seemed, during the night, to actually sleeping like 4 hours. So the parents of the baby, my son and daughter-in-law, actually started to look like they might be coming alive again, because there were periods there where they were looking pretty exhausted. Yeah, I'm just making a mess here because the paint kind of blotted up. Clean the brush, and there we go. Yeah, there's one here too. Yeah, that will be a problem later. Okay, flip. I need to do a flip. Almost forgot about that. I'm going to move this stuff a little bit away here, and then make an effort to flip something without hurting anything else. Need this bigger brush. I don't need these. Flip. Oh yeah, there's this, right? This was the good flipping thing, so I'll just flip it again. I'll do 6 flips, because, you know, who was kind of flipping demanding. 5, 6. There we did. Flips. This. Now, some of this requires a little light blue touch-up, and some are some other colors. Okay, that doesn't require touch-up. This is going to require some touch-up of this light sea gray, and that's some red, and I will do those a little bit later, but I think I'm ready to put a bunch of light blue paint on this. Okay, I've got some lines that are more or less lined, and where this will go is between these 2 lines, and I can just paint down quite a ways. There's nothing, this underneath here is light blue as well, but it doesn't show, so I can just have kind of a ragged line here. I'll be doing it like that, and then from here on, this goes all the way down to there, to the dark gray, up to here, across here, up to there. And I hope I can do that pretty much in one coat. I'd like to be able to do that in one coat. And I don't need to go any further, because none of this here shows, and none of this here shows. And this control panel here in this junction box, you can just barely see those through one of the little passageways. Show you. It's you put this deck here where it will eventually go. Seriously? Okay, this is annoying. So this deck goes here, all right, and the dark gray has not gone up high enough. See that? That dark gray needs to go higher, especially in the corners, because you can see that from the outside. That will definitely show, especially right there in that corner. I thought I had corrected that, but Obviously, I didn't. Not there anyway. Oh, what I was trying to show you is that if this goes in here, in the place it should, that you can, right here, you can see through here where the officer's wardroom is. You can see that control panel back there, but that's as much as you can see. So that's why I'm only going to paint the light blue to the edge of the control panel. That's as far as it needs to go. Well, I might as well do the light gray touch-up after I do the blue, because if the blue comes down too far, right there in the corner, just really a pain. I think I'm going to paint that using the same technique I used before. I'm going to put this in there and just push the paint up into it. Okay, well, I managed to do what, like a little more than a half hour, and I put that much paint on things. That's pretty good for me. All right, well, let's go this. This is going to be a big chunk of light blue paint that I'm hoping will go in places where I want it to go and not in other places. And as that's drying, I'll be cutting out the channels on the floor here for the periscopes and things. And then I'll come back and paint the green. And after those are done, I'll be doing the detail on the control panels. And we'll just see how this goes today. I mean, what could possibly go wrong other than almost everything? I'm going to go into silent mode here because I have to focus and concentrate on, like, brushing stuff. Paint up to the hull because I don't want to get paint all over it. Be an unnecessary complication. And after this dries, of course, before I start doing the green, we'll fit things again. And I might actually use the same technique to watch this stuff. Jeez. Okay. I'm just going to paint over these control panels because they'll get painted later. Give them at least a uniform base coat. There we go. Yep, I was working off the wrong line. That would have been bad if I hadn't caught that. Yeah, so I'm going to let this dry. And then you can paint the green. And then I'll fit different pieces to it. Try and make sure. Yeah, the bunk room down here, the little bits that show up here. I think I got it all. Yeah, there we go. So as that's drying, I can do some essential touch-up. So this piece here, make sure I didn't mess this one up. Don't show, so I don't need to worry about it. The stuff behind the bunks doesn't show, so like this fire extinguisher that's messed up a little bit, you never see it, so I don't need to worry about it. This hatchway. The hatchway okay? Yeah, it'll do. Okay, so I need to do a little bit of touch-up on this guy, and let me make sure. If those fire extinguishers don't show on this side either, then I don't need to worry about fixing them. Yeah, you're not going to see. You're never going to see them, so that's not an issue. But the very top of this locker somehow got bumped with a paint, and that is going to show, and I need this weird color here. Yeah, this is antique paint, very old, and I'm using it just in a few spots for lockers and junction boxes, so I'll actually be using it again. Seeing a little bit again on the inside of the hull when I paint junction boxes. Okay, I've got junction boxes up like here and here. These are control panels that get painted gray. Yeah, it looks kind of scabby, but it levels out okay as it dries. So I discovered that happily is the case. But that needs to dry before I can do the green, because I don't want them to mush together. Technical term. I don't want them to run together. Anyway, yes, I was out of the country in Europe, visiting grandbaby, doing some babysitting. I got to be baby mattress. My son and daughter-in-law needed to sleep very badly some days. They didn't get any sleep during the night, so I got to be baby mattress for like 2.5 to 3.5 hours at a time most days in the mornings, and that way they got to take a nap, which they really, really needed to do. So I was happy to do that. But the trip back home was 25 total hours of travel. Taxis, airports, airplanes, trams, sitting around in airports even more sitting around in airports, waiting in airports, getting on planes, waiting on the tarmac. There's a good deal of waiting on the tarmac. Yeah, so 25 hours of travel, and hi, old Roger. Yep, it's SubWednesday, and I'm doing things today. I actually, you missed it. I put paint on something. Let me show this off. On the inside of the hull here, I put light blue paint in for the crew areas, so that hopefully that will match the color of the walls in those areas. And then this area here and down here are going to be painted this green color, because that's the color of the control areas, control rooms. So I'm waiting for this light blue paint to dry enough to be able to do that. And then, of course, I have to test fit everything again to make sure that the lines between the different colors line up with the compartments. I know, for example, that back there in the corner, I need to paint that dark gray. That needs to be dark gray because it shows like I didn't get the paint up high enough right there in that corner. So get to do that. But what I'm going to be working on right now, right here, right now, is a modification of this deck. You might recall that the periscope and radio antenna tubes, these things from the top of the sail that go down, they go down into these tubes. That's really nice, they do that, but they don't line up with the deck by quite a lot. They miss. So what I'm going to do now is like this one is supposed to go here, but instead it goes there. So everything is off by a little more than 1/10 of an inch. So I'm going to carve this out, these things in between these circles, so that there's a channel here, and then I can place the tubes anywhere along here to line up with the actual periscope and radio antenna that come down from the sail. So I'm just going to use these files, and hopefully a lot of this is just invisible from the front. Okay, I'm going to be behind, you're looking at it from the edge. So I'm going to be doing that. And if I need to, I can fill in the space between them if necessary to make it look okay. But pretty much what I'm doing is using this file to make a channel that goes along the inside and outside edges of these round things here, these round holes. So I'll start here, and then I can go further out. Yeah, and this is real fiddly. The plastic isn't really hard, but yeah. So I'm going really slowly, it looks like here. Yeah, this is really boring for those of you who are watching as I'm trying to file this channel in here. And, I want to get it to be equal to the depth of the bottoms of these, so that when I figure out the height I need to have, because these tubes are all the wrong length, all the other holes line up. I tested that over and over. So all of these slots and things for the bulkheads and the bunks and the lockers and everything else lines up. All these control panels, everything else lines up really well. It's just these things don't match the sail. And part of what I think happened is, if you look at this really closely, you can see that there's this gap here, is that I think this whole sail should be moved forward, but just on the bottom. Like the top lined up really quite well, but the rest of it didn't. You know, like here, it looks like it's actually too far forward, and this one looks like it's too far aft. So what happened was, when I got these in place so that there's 4 decks, these things need to line up through 4 decks. When I finally got them to line up, these didn't line up. The decks didn't. So it's just another one of those kind of manufacturing flaws that we've been running into over and over. So anyway, I looked at like 3 or 4 different solutions, including even moving this entire deck. But well, if you were here, you could do that for me. Yeah, I mean, that would be kind of neat, like a little dental drill or something, right? And I do have a Dremel, but I'm afraid that if I put a Dremel to this, that it would skip around or something and just, anyway, cause a real problem. So I'm just going to file these, and, you know, it'll get done. I mean, I have all the time in the world. It's just you guys who are watching this get to see get to watch something really dull and boring, like tiny fractions of a millimeter of plastic being filed away in a way that hopefully will work. But I could ramble on about something. I suppose been away for a while, and you can only talk about being a baby mattress so that your kids can get some sleep so long before that gets old. So there's that. Okay, well, this back edge along here seems to be coming along pretty well. I'm going to try to line up, do the same thing along the front edge, the front being the part that faces the front of the mount. If I can get an edge. And then I might have to modify where this goes. There's a stool there. Yeah, you have to have the right cutting tool and the right speed, because I have used a Dremel on plastic before, and then if you have it going at the wrong speed, it just melts the plastic. At least that was my experience. And then what you end up with isn't a nice clean line. You end up with a Dremel tool that's covered with melted plastic. And then that needs to be cleaned up. Anyway, this is sort of coming along, and once this is done, at some point after this is done, I need to get a measure of the distance between the bottom of this channel and the bottom of the channel and the top of this, because those tubes into which these go need to be snugged. Great plastic dust on everything, need to be cemented on the bottom here and snug up against the top. And that all needs to be aligned. I'm thinking instead of using plastic cement, maybe that contact cement or even rubber cement to hold these tubes in place, because, well, they need to line up with the periscopes above them. Like nothing on this is easy. It's just I was discovering when I was trying to get the lines correct between the white paint there, which is in the head or the bathroom, and the blue, that this bulkhead that fits in between there doesn't really fit. Do some cleaning up or modification of that too. But I guess that's just, the joy of modeling, dealing with a 1960s era Renwall cutaway submarine model that was beautifully designed and poorly manufactured. What can you say? Other than that, it was poorly manufactured. But I think this solution will work because the periscope, the tube bottoms, the bottoms of the tubes for the periscopes and the radio antenna will be below the top of this little stand thing here. It's a little, whatever it is, it's got some steps leading up to it even. That's cute. See, that's the kind of detail that they put. Yeah, that's a good idea. That would go really fast compared to these little files. But yeah, that's the kind of detail you get in this. This platform is raised up, I don't know, in real life probably like 2 feet from the deck. And they put 2 little steps there. And they really, and you know what's really sad about that is they went through the trouble of putting these 2 little steps here, but when you view the model, you're looking at it edgewise, and there's no way you're going to be able to see them. I think I'll paint them. This is going to be painted a different color than the floor. It's going to be painted probably the same color as, I don't know, maybe as the control panels. Maybe I'll just paint it the same color as the floor. I'll have to look at the box top to see what they did on their color scheme. So this is taking a while, but it's okay because I have to wait for that blue paint to dry before I can paint the green. So this is as good a way to here, let me just put this on camera. Well, thanks for dropping in, old Brogger. Yeah, maybe come back after break and you can see if I made any progress or not. You never know. You never know whether anything is actually going to get done or not when I'm working. With Nicole, you know that like an entire minifig will get finished during the course of a stream. But when I'm doing this, as Who says, I might use up half the stream just trying to find the brushes. Right, Who? I saw that. I got to see that part of the stream and saw that in chat. Pretty offensive, I would say. I wonder if this other one, no, it's too wide. It's too bad. It'd be nice if this worked. because then I could do the whole thing flat, but it doesn't, so I'll continue to use this. What I'm trying to do here is get the sides of the channel to be the right width. They can't be too, if it's too narrow, those tubes won't fit, so I'll do some test fitting of that. And then I need to get this all down evenly to the level of the bottoms of the original holes into which those tubes were supposed to go if they actually lined up, which they don't, which is why I'm doing this. No, it's not. I need to be content with this. And kind of work by feel. This is a little nub in here. It's just not disappearing. Well, I actually have accomplished in making this a channel, and the edges are pretty straight and smooth, which is kind of nice. It's getting down to the correct level. It is up here. Almost back here. And then we'll clean it off. There's a lot of plastic dust here. Clean it off and see if those things fit, or whether I need to make the channel a little wider. And then I'm going to do things a little bit out of the order I was originally planning. Before I paint the green onto the hull, I'm going to test fit this and see if I can't get the height that I need on those tubes, the receptacle tubes for the periscope. Because what I can do then is, while the green is drying, and it will be, at some point, I will get green paint on here. While the green is drying, I will be able to cut those to length and actually paint them. I can't do that until I know what length they need to be cut to. Thanks, old Brogger. It's nice to have somebody be nice, because I know who isn't. Who just won't be. Okay, so as you can see, instead of 3 holes there, there's now a channel. And these things here, there's an open end into which the periscopes and things go, and then the close end here. These little prongs on the bottom that are supposed to help you line this up, okay? This is supposed to line up. Well, those aren't going to be any good anymore, because that's not where they're going to be. So before I test fit them, I know that these have to come off. Those little nubbins on the bottom. So I'm just going to go ahead and get those off, and then I'm going to test fit these and modify the channel as I need to. so that these can fit anywhere along the length of that channel. There. Smooth on that one. This one is for the periscope, which is the one that's furthest forward. You can tell because it has little periscope control things on it, like the handles and the viewing port. This will be painted in detail so you can see them. This one is the closest to the three of being the right height. The other two are, as I'll show you in a minute, are different heights and are quite lengths, lengths laying down, heights going up. Yeah, it's kind of weird. Like there's that one, this one I cut off, and you can see already that that one's longer. It's like it was built for a slanted deck or something. It's weird. Just weird the way that these things are put together. I think I might have to widen the channel a little bit so that these will fit comfortably. I can already see that that this is a little narrower than that hole was. So that's the first one I'm going to try and I'll probably have to file away a little bit on the edge there. Okay. So, first test it. Instead of going here, where it was designed to go, this needs to go about here. And and you can see, right off, you can hardly see it, but it's like a tiny, tiny little bit too narrow there. Right there. This one will need to go about here. And that also is a tiny bit narrow. And this last one will go way over here on the end. And that one will actually pretty much fit. Need to get this out again and just on the, I'll do it on, do it on the front of this a little bit. I need to make this channel just a little bit wider. On this side, the same. Well, somebody's all excited upstairs. One of our dogs must see movement. Probably a visiting squirrel out by the bird feeder. Okay, well, as I had said earlier, got back from Europe after 25 hours of travel. Just the way the schedules of the flights were set up, just all the connecting flights just gave us plenty of time to see the insides of the connecting flight airports. Put that way. What a joy, right? So yeah. Big time difference between Europe and here. 25 hours of travel. 6-hour time difference. Sleep deprivation. Really kind of surprising myself that things are actually going pretty much okay here. Haven't had any disasters yet. Okay, so we'll try this again. This has to fit right about here. Yeah, it looks like it actually is. It's hard to see from the side. It's not even on the bottom. That's great. You know, it's not. That's going to go there. Probably I'll turn it this way so that you can see the controls for the periscope. That's going to go there. This one's going to go about here. And this one will go about here. Okay, so this channel's going to work. If we can get them all lined up and vertical, and that will be, they'll be held in place to a large extent by these coming down. Like this one will come down into it, and that will determine its location and its orientation. And none of this will work, of course, until I get the heights right. You know, this is a tight fit, so after I paint it, it's not going to fit at all, because even that tiny thickness of the coat of paint is enough to throw it off. And they're not the same diameter. Like this one slides all the way across in that channel without a problem. This one just barely fits at all. Actually do is, well, I might as well wait till the paint's on, but this needs to be smaller. So I think that, you know, other than the torpedoes, and how can you mess those up, right? I'd say only about 30% of the parts to this model actually fit the way they were designed to. And I think maybe like 5% didn't need a significant amount of filing or sanding to get rid of mold marks or little flashy. Yeah, so that's all it really took, was just that. And so that's that. And then this one, other than not being level, okay. Yeah. Okay, so there's that. So the blue paint is now dry enough. It's not totally dry. It's not dry enough to paint the control panels yet, but it is dry enough for me to paint the green. Okay, and the green paint is going to go from this line here all the way across to this inside of this bulkhead, and then from this bulkhead across there. This area here doesn't need to be painted. You can't see it. Like here, these areas cannot be seen once it's assembled. Just can't, because stuff's in front of them. But most of this can be, and then I'll paint the junction boxes and these little control panels here, here, here. I'll try to get that detail in without making a mess of it after the paint is dried. So I'll set this aside for the time being. The next step after the green is in, I need to do that now. Sorry, got out of step. If I paint this now, What I won't be able to do is I won't be able to get the height of this. This bulkhead is a nice little bulkhead here. And it goes in here. Sometimes it fits and sometimes it doesn't. The nice thing about it fitting very tightly is that it doesn't need to be glued later. But yeah, I mean, it's just hard to get in. Maybe I'm just going to leave it in. I might just leave it there. Well, I have to take it out when I paint because I don't want to necessarily get paint all over it. No, that doesn't matter. I'm going to talk myself into just leaving it here. Because once it's in place, okay, it holds all the other decks in place. And I'm going to be painting green up to it, all around there and there. So I don't see any real need to see where this goes in terms of the boundary between the dark gray and the green for the gyro room. I need this bulkhead. These pieces fit sort of together. Okay, so what this tells me, I'm glad I checked that, is that when I paint the green, I need to go ever so slightly over the top. Ever so slightly over the top of that. Okay? But I'm going to leave this, I'm going to just leave this in place because it serves a really nice purpose in terms of the location and there we go. So that deck goes like that. And you can see where the green needs to be then, right at the bottom of those control panels. So what I need to measure is the distance between the very top here of the bottom deck of the sail and the bottom of this channel. And that will tell me that actually fits in there pretty well. I hope everything else does also. Okay, yeah. I need the distance between the very bottom there and the top of the bottom of the lower deck of the sail and the bottom of that channel. And what would be nice to have is a set of calipers, the kind that go out like that. We've got some really amazing electronic calipers, but they'll only measure, I can't get them in there. Okay, I can't get them in there. They're not designed for that. So what I have is somewhere, where did I very, very carefully pulled it out earlier today. There it is. Here's I have I have a stick, a little balsa wood stick, and I'm going to gradually cut that down until it's the right length, and then when it's the right length, that's the length I need to make those tubes. And this is a fairly large stick. I could use a toothpick, but I wanted something that I could actually hold. It's made out of balsa wood, so it's very easy to cut and etc. So, to get a preliminary measurement, the bottom of the channel is a little bit higher than the bottom of this deck. So if I go from there to there, that's going to be very close to what I need. And I have more of these, so if I cut this too short, I can just get another one. So having this other bulkhead in there, even though this is not to be installed until like the next step, you know, the next bit, it holds everything together. So I'm going to pretend that I'm going to pretend that I'm on page 5 and that this is already in place. Okay. So this bit here, getting this length and then cutting these tubes down to that length is, once that's done, I should be able to move along pretty well. At least I'm hoping so. What do I need here? I need this. Yeah, this will be okay. I think I can get those tubes, the periscope tubes, cut to the right length. And, well, I don't even have to. I just have to have this length. So if I can get this length done, or in the other direction, the height, if I can make that happen, I can get the green paint onto the hull here. And then I'll be really close to, oh, I know what else I can do. Yeah, I'm glad I'm thinking sort of a little bit in my jet-lagged fog, is during break, I'm going to prime this. Since I have the channel cut now, since that's done, I can prime this, and I actually can get this painted. Yeah, I can get the floor painted. That would be a thing. And the floor, yeah, the whole floor is going to be painted the same color as these floors. Okay. And the top of this, the whole thing will be painted light blue once it's in. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Good thing. Good thinking. Yep. I now somehow need to hold this and get it in here. And what I see is that it is it's too short. Yep. I made this a little too short, and the gap will show. Good thing I tested it. So my preliminary measure didn't work. Nope, didn't work. It needs to be at least a 1/16 of an inch longer. And just happens to be this. Let's see how this works. Maybe we have some serendipity here. Yeah, look at that. It goes through the channel. Okay, all the way across the channel and up to the top, and there's no gap. And so this, the remnant of the piece that I cut off, yay, turns out to be exactly what I need. Okay. And then the way this will work is that each one of these tubes will need to be this height. This one is very close. The others are not. So what I'll be doing is I'm going to be filing them down from the top, from the open area. Yep, this height, this length, that was good. I've got a measure thing to work with there. All right, I need to get some green paint then. Before break, I can get the green paint on. I think this stuff is all going to be okay. And then I'll be able to prime. I will be able to prime this deck, both top and bottom. Need to test something here. See if you can see. There's a gap in the blue paint that I put on. I want to see if it shows or not. Yep. Oh, I'm so good at holding things steady. You know, it would be easier just to paint that little bit and then have to worry about it, right? But no, I'm going to fidget around with this forever. Seeing if I can't maybe, scrape the paint enough, scratch the paint enough so I have to repaint a bunch of stuff. That's really what I'm trying to do. No, there's no way you're going to be able to see that behind these bunks. I wonder how. Anyway, yeah. So this thing gets to be primed. I'm going to get the green paint out and paint some stuff green and do that, and then put these files away so I don't scratch everything up. Just let those sit there so that maybe I can knock them over or something. And I'm just going to be painting the inside of this up to this line and down across here green. Yep. And then the same thing here, down here and up to there. And yeah, I didn't paint that. I didn't paint the blue. Yep, nice job. Nice going. Nice not painting up far enough. I need to put a little more blue paint in right here on the corner, just like the black gray over there. Yes. Not getting my lines right. The green paint. So yeah, there'll be a little bit of touching up-ish in the corners. Right. Let's paint green. I'm going to start here. See if I can get this line more or less in the right place. Hand is definitely not steady today. Why not? I do not know, but it is not. Good thing about painting it with the bulkhead in place is that I definitely can get the paint up to the bulkhead. And it can even get a little bit of paint in the gap there and close it. And I know that's in the right place because that's where it fits. So I want to get a blob of paint right up in there and just fill the gap. It looked better if you ever see back that far. Okay. You don't have to worry about it going too high because you can't see back there. But I need to get a decent line along the dark gray down here on the Let's see, that's where the light blue did not go far enough. So I'm painting over these control boxes like that one, and I'm going to paint the detail on those, next. Okay, so I do believe that I had green where it needs to be. I'm not entirely sure. I might have to make some adjustments on the corners or whatever. I might have gone down a little too far here. I don't know. But I'll test fit bits of this a little bit later. And, touch up the little lines, or I need to touch up the little lines to make sure that they are in alignment with all of the bulkheads. For example, here, I'm not sure that will be perfectly in alignment, but I can do little bits of touch-up, maybe even, well, we'll see. So there's that. I had way too much of this out. I need a little bit of this light blue here, because I know that there's a spot there that isn't covered correctly. So I'll just do that quickly. Okay, no, use a different brush. Sorry, I'm looking at this from the bottom, just seeing spots that need touching. Yeah, doing this with the bulkhead in place, even though it's not designed to go together that way, that really was the right thing to do. So right here, the blue paint didn't go far enough, and now it does. Okay, well, let me clean these brushes and then do a preview of coming attractions. What I'll be doing next is, since now I have my height or length of how high each of these needs to go to fit, I can cut them down to size. Okay, and once they're cut down to size, I can paint them. And I'm going to be painting them this color, the same as the escape hatch and these other tubes into which the snorkel and stuff went. At some point, I'm going to then paint, this will be dry, hopefully, and I'll be able to paint the junction boxes up here and the control panels there, and there. Those painted light gray, and then the little knobs and things just get highlighted, probably with the felt tip pens. All right, and when that's done, maybe I'll do little things like, at some point in the past, this got filled in. There was a gap there that was caused when it came off of the tree. When this was pulled off of the tree, it broke the plastic. And that's what happens when people aren't careful when they do that. Yeah, so after break, I'll be painting the control panels. I'll be cutting these to the right length and then painting them. I will prime this during break, all right? And the primer should actually dry in time, because the break of about a half hour, that I will then be able to paint this. All right. And once this is painted, assuming all of this fits, I can actually start assembling it. I'm not sure if I'll be able to get to the point where I'm putting pieces, cementing pieces in or not. But I'm definitely going to be test fitting them to make sure that my lines here, because each cabin has a different color, that they are in the right place, right? So that if it's supposed to be blue, it isn't green, and if it's supposed to be green, it's not blue. So things don't show in a weird way. So I'll be testing that. I may have to make the blue. Anyway, if there's an issue with any of them, I'll correct those. And that should be pretty straightforward. And then, make those the right length. Paint the control panels and things, the detail. Test fit all this stuff to make sure that the paint lines are correct. I'm going to fix one. I know one needs to be fixed, so I'm going to just do it right now as I'm talking about it. Why not? Just show you the kind of thing that will need to be done. It's a color. So if I painted it the wrong color, then that would be a big problem. I only need a tiny little dot of paint. So this is the kind of thing I'll be doing after break, is getting out these different hull colors. Like that, this corner there shows when you put the decks in. And now it shouldn't. But that's the kind of little bits of touch-up along the edges that I might need. So things will be going in and then coming back out again, in and out, until they work correctly. Yep, so during break, that's going to dry. This will get primed. Then after break, I'll cut those down, paint them, and then do a bunch of test fitting of the decks and the bulkheads. Not all the little detail stuff, not all the control panels and things yet, but the decks and the bulkheads, to make sure that the hull paint, the inner hull paint, shows correctly behind the detail. And then I will start to assemble this. I'll get some model cement out and start sticking stuff on. Why not? Right, in order to be able to do that, this will take a couple of coats. I might do the deck painting. I might do the deck painting first. All right, so I actually did some painting. That's kind of a shock. I did some painting on Relaxing Painting today. That's pretty neat. I'm going to be using this brush to be painting things this color of the deck floors, and I don't want green in it. Squeeze all the green paint out and take care of it that way. All right. If everything lines up, that'll be terrific. If it doesn't, it'll just be little bits of paint here and there. So I'm going to cover this up so that it doesn't get all dusty and dirty and gross and stuff during break. Letting that paint dry. Get this primed, top and bottom. This is going to require a lot of sanding on the bottom. Each of these holes will need to be filled in. All of these little nubbins, I'm not going to bother sanding these off now because I'll be sanding the whole bottom of this over and over. I might as well not bother. I'm not even going to bother priming this because it'll all be sanded off later anyway. So that's just as well. I can prime the top of this and let that dry. And then, always measure twice and cut once. So after this is primed, I'm going to test fit it. I have to test fit it anyway to make sure that the lines of the colors are correct. But at that time, I will also take my little stick, my measuring stick, to make sure that it is still the right height. Because I don't want to cut these to be too short, because that would then be a real problem. Ta-da! All right. I'm going to take a break. I will be back. Oh, it might be a little longer break because I need to let this dry, and I probably will have a little bit of a snack. I'll be back though before 12:30, and we'll continue. We'll continue with the resumption again of Submarine Wednesday. See you in a bit. Yep, get the picture back. Ta-da, there we go. So I'm going to put the first coat of floor paint on this. I didn't have any spray primer left, so I had to brush some primer on it, but, little brush marks probably aren't going to matter because I'll be putting at least 2 coats of paint on it. But before I do that, the green is sort of dry, but this won't hurt too much. What I want to do is put this in place for 2 reasons. One is that I want to check the line. Getting these things in is a chore. There we go. Yeah, okay. So what we've got there is, the green went down a little too far. You can see it's showing there, so I'm going to paint that. I'm going to give that a little bit of blue paint. Actually, I'm going to paint that while this is still in here. I think I might do that, but the main reason I'm doing this is I want to make sure that this is the right height before I start modifying these, because I've got 2 other models. I bought 3 kits, so I've got 2 other kits. If I mess these up, I can borrow them, steal them from the other kits. That's not a big deal, but I don't really like doing things 2 or 3 times over if I can do it once. So I'm putting that in place. This is my measuring stick, and I'm going to test it one more time. Like, other than this bouncing around a little bit, it looks like that'll work. So I want to make these as close to that as I can. I need to fix that though, because when this goes in, we'll just test fit that too. You'll see how this goes. This goes in here like that. Okay. Yeah, it's supposed to all go in there all at once, and I'm not sure why it's sticking. Where is it hung up? I do not know. Let's do it in the other direction. We'll do this first. Oh, seriously? Oh, man. That is sorely disappointing. These bunks end up going... I can't have this in here. I have to take this out and break the seal. Like that. What a pain. Because the This has to be there like that, otherwise it won't fit. Lovely, huh? Because I can't slide it in because, yeah, of the way it's put together. So what I'm trying to do is test fit these to see if the lines are right. And if I put this in, and you'll get to see how this all fits together then. It's kind of neat when it actually is in place. Yeah, you can see how that works. See, the dining area, the galley and everything is there, but in fact, you know, if you get some light on it, you can see that the green is down a little too far there. Okay. And then if I were to put these bulkheads in place, like here, it wants to line up. More or less, that bulkhead's there. Here. Yeah, those colors line up okay. Yeah, okay, so that's all right. I just need to bring the blue up a little bit there. But yeah, you can start to see how this fits together. And then these bunks go in here. Okay, like that. That all has to be put together before, and those have to be held together before it slides in. And then this, that isn't attached, so I'll take it out because it's going to flop around. This just slides in here, like this. Like that. So you can see how this all goes together. And all of this stuff, all of these things fit up on top of here. So at least at this point, it looks like I've only got that one area that needs to be fixed. I need to check these bulkheads up here too. And I'm going to try that and slide this back out. Why not? I mean, let's see how it fits together, see if it works. This might not. There's bunks and stuff that go in here. So if this works, I've only got a little bit of touching up to do. Yeah, well, it fit before. So this goes in here, and this bulkhead needs to just angle forward a little bit like that. Okay, and I'm looking at this, and I see that the blue, the green went a little too far there too. That might be invisible because there's bunks that go across that. So I've got to do a little blue touch up. It's really a shame that this didn't, I couldn't keep that in, but it didn't. Anyway, you can start to see how this all fits together and how it works. Yeah, so I need to a little blue that way, a little blue that way, and it looks like now that I've got these, yeah, it's kind of working. Things are going okay. I need to get that white paint, whatever color that is. I think it's ivory, and I need to, that needs to come up this way as well. I'm wondering if I can... No, I can't wait to do that because there's going to be a wall in the way. Yeah. So, looking how these fit together, I need to do blue here. And I need to do ivory here. And I'm going to... And I need to do a little blue there as well. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this blue first while this is in, and just put it right up along that wall. Yeah, I was going to paint the floor first, because I'll need a couple of coats, but that's going to have to wait, because I wanted to do this touching up first. So I'll take a chance and use a little brush like this. I'm just going to paint right up along the line there. And I'm getting some on the bulkhead, but it's the same color, and it's way deep inside the submarine, so that's not going to show. But I am going to pull that bulkhead out before the paint dries. There, that covers that. This, I'll be needing this yet in a little bit, but I'm going to get the other one too, and I think that's ivory. I'm trying to work quickly here so I can get this stuff in and out without it being an issue. So all this stuff that's in here will be coming out because it's not ready yet. Use a different brush because this one's wet. And I'm doing the same thing here. I'm reaching in and putting ivory paint right along the edge. Bulkhead, so that it is ivory instead of blue. Okay. Now all of this comes out. Next, these guys all come out. So that's the test fitting part, right? Here is, I mean, close that gap because this bulkhead is actually in place. I want to be able to use this paint to fill in the gap with the bulkhead, and that would look better. That's the trick I learned when I was a kid, is before I got plastic putty filler, is I used paint to fill in the gaps. Okay, now I need this color. I had this one before, and I'm bringing it back out again. This was I need to make this blue right up here. These bits all over the place. So I think, I mean, I painted that right along the bulkhead edge. So that line looks pretty ragged, but it is now in the right place at least. All right. This aside. Knock things over that are in the way. Not to break anything. And I'm going to put a coat of paint on the deck here, because that'll need 2 coats if I remember correctly using this other paint. This paint, and I'm also I need to paint up to the edges, so I'm going to put it on this thing. Hopefully that will hold it okay. Across it. I'm trying to not have too many brush marks. Clean these off. Yep, SubWednesday. So just to let you know that I will be traveling again. This is a travel summer, it seems. And I will be gone until next Wednesday. So I'm not sure if Nikki is going to be doing relaxing painting on Friday and Monday or not. Just so check your social media. She does have another model to paint. This cool thing. Okay. I mean, it really is cool, and she would do an amazing job with all these feathers and textures and stuff on it. So maybe you'll be seeing this on Friday or Monday or both. Not sure. But I will be gone until next Wednesday. So the next time I am on is SubWednesday. And we will see, I will see, you will see how far I get today yet. So what I'm hoping to do now is get 1 coat on this, hopefully a decent coat, cut these down to size, okay, because now I've got a measuring stick, literally, it is a stick that I am using to measure. Got a measuring stick so I can cut these down to the right size. Maybe get those painted if I can get to that, and then do some of the detail on the inside of the hull, because that paint should dry by the time I get this done and that done. And then at least I can paint the control panels and the junction boxes their base colors, even if I don't get the detail done. I'm going to give this a big stirring because I'm using a lot of this. I want it to be mixed really well. Yeah, there's different kinds of sticks. There's measuring sticks. That is literally a measuring stick. There's a stick in the mud. And, you know, if you've had a lot of rain recently, you can go out and put a stick in the mud. Sometimes it's a lot easier to put a stick in the mud than it is to put it in dry ground. If it's just sand, it's not too bad, but if you've got a lot of clay and then it got wet and then it dried, it would be really hard to put a stick in that. But if it's wet and muddy, you can get the stick in the mud pretty well. I'm not really sure where that phrase came from. You know, it's usually used to describe somebody who is like set in their ways, you know, not open to innovation, not wanting to, you know, go to the carnival with you. You say, oh, you're a real stick in the mud. But I'm not sure that makes sense, because if it's muddy, it's fairly easy to get a stick in, and it's fairly easy to get it back out again. So being a stick in the mud is not nearly as bad as like being, you know, stuck in hard clay or set cement or something like that. You know, one more of those things that people say. So, yeah, things can stick in your craw. That's not good. That makes you choke. So stick in your craw is like, I hope you choke on something. That's what that means. Stick up. That doesn't, I don't know where that came from either. Stick up. I mean, you could say stick your hands up, but, you know, they're not really sticking to anything when you do that. All of these things are, you know, when you start talking about them, they just become baffling. It's like none of these things make sense. Why did people come up with them, and what? I'm going to paint that little platform thing the same as the floor color for now. That might change, I'm not sure, but if I paint it this color now, I can always paint it a different color later. These things are control panels, so they're going to be painted gray, so I'm not going to bother painting them the floor color necessarily. I'm just trying to keep it smoothed out, you know, so that there aren't any brush marks. And this paint color, I shouldn't have painted in that channel. I'm going to have to dig that paint out because stuff's going to be cemented on there. And the cement doesn't work well if there's paint. So that was a mistake, but I can correct that. I do want to paint the edges though. And the inside of the stairwell. This is where stairs come up from the officers, whatever it's called, ready room kind of thing. They have a conference room on the deck below this. Yeah, so two coats on this should be enough, it looks like. It's covering fairly well. Not perfectly, so definitely we'll need a second coat. But it's not bad. There's a spot there that will be invisible once it's put together, but we'll just cover that anyway. So two coats. There's a possibility you'll need a third. Won't know until the second coat is dry. Okay. Oh, that was fun. Did some relaxing painting there. Hopefully that will level as it dries. Usually does. We need to put this somewhere around it. Yeah. We all remember where it is. Work it over. Having measured twice, I should be fairly certain that the measuring stick is exactly right. Well, yes, it is. A file is a fancy metal stick. It's got like little cuts and stuff with it. Yes, I did. I succeeded with the filing. Oh, thanks for coming back. Yeah, I can actually kind of show you. I've got the first coat of the floor color on here, but you can see the channel that I cut in, and until they're painted, and then they're going to be too big because the paint builds up. So I'm going to have to clean some of that paint out again and around the bottoms of these. These things actually fit, and I can locate them anywhere along this channel. So the filing worked. Now I'm going to do some more filing because I measured the height that I need to have for these periscopes to fit between the bottom of that channel and the deck above it. And this stick, my measuring stick, we were talking about that before, is that height. So each of these, which are now all too long and of different heights, need to be that height. So I'm going to be whittling these things down to be that high. And I'm going to be doing it from the top, not the bottom, because mess at the bottom. They're sealed so that these periscopes and things slide down into it for a certain distance. So I'm going to need to put a second coat on the floor. I got the inside of I got this painted on the inside, and I test fit all the bulkheads so that the lines are correct. I mean, so the right colors are inside the right compartments. And once this dries, and it's not, the green is still glossy, I'm going to be painting these control panels here, 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 and these junction boxes, just so you can see the detail. And some of these actually show through the deck. You can see them through whatever's in front of them. And so, yeah, I'll be doing that. I don't know what that is. That little gray rectangle. But whatever it is, it looks okay there, so I'm just going to leave it. Yeah, I think it's some paint from the deck that I fit. Everything test fit fairly well. I was kind of surprised. We'll see. After they're painted, just the thickness of the paint itself throws off the fit. The tolerances are that tight. So I want these big flat ones for this. I'm going to put a little bit of a black mark on here. The jet lag isn't helping, I'll tell you that. It wasn't too bad for the beginning of the stream, but it's starting to catch up with me here. So pretty soon I should become incoherent. It'll be fun. I'm just going to use the file on this one. Some of these others I might try and exact them because there's quite a lot that has to be cut off. Getting these to the right height, the right length is important. And then of course I'll need to test fit them before I do any kind of cementing. If they're a little too long, that will be a problem. If they're a little too short, hopefully that won't show very much, but we'll see. So the situation is that I'm going to be traveling yet again over the weekend. So I'm not going to be here on Friday or Monday. I think hopefully Nicole will paint at least one of those 2 days. And then it's a painting show when she does it. With me, it's kind of like a filing and fitting and going, ugh, that didn't work, or oh yeah, something finally worked. It's always kind of an exciting thing when something finally works, because it's not a common thing, especially with the submarine. But next Wednesday, I should be getting really close to being able to fit all of this stuff into the hull of the submarine and have everything in the first third of it done. And then if I can get that done, the last 45 minutes of the stream next week, I'll probably be trying to find the parts for the missile launching area. We can do a preview. I can take a break. Number five is the gyro room. This one's already done, this bulkhead. This bulkhead there. Yeah, that bulkhead should be in the box somewhere, and that looks like that needs to be painted. It doesn't need to be installed right away because all of this comes next. It's pretty cool. We've got all the missile launching tubes, 16 of them. They're all halves. So I need to find all the halves. I'm going to be cementing those together. The seams will show because things don't line up right. So the seams will all need to be like filed or sanded before they can be primed. I have to make sure the heights are right because they need to fit between this deck. They go on the bottom here, through this one and into this. And this is the top. And if they're the wrong height, then none of this will fit in here, of course, right? And then we have this really exciting one. This is the actual missile launching one. It's got a little spring and a lever in it, and you push a missile down into it, and well, you pull the lever down, pulls the spring down, you set a missile in, and it actually pops up a little bit above the top of the submarine. It's kind of fun. And then there's these little control pieces we'll need to find and paint them some sort of color. And then it looks like there's actually a bulkhead and sort of a wall that goes in behind, and all the missiles go in this section that goes behind that. And I think that's the beginning of the reactor room. Yeah, the reactor is going to be cool. I'm going to have to try to figure out how to paint that. So it's cutaway. So it has to look like it's like a nuclear fission glowing kind of. That might be kind of cool to do. Anyway, yeah, there seems to be fewer parts, but there's going to be a lot of fiddly with this in terms of getting them glued together, sanded down so that the seams don't show, and then getting them to fit in here, and then fitting that all into the hull. And as we've seen before, nothing really ever fits. So yeah, more of that. But back to the control deck. And sanding this down, filing this down to the right height. I know it looks like length, but it really is height. Probably would be good to have like maybe a jig or something so I can make sure that this is at a 90-degree angle and that it's not all lopsided and weird and stuff. But I'm not doing that because this is relaxing painting with Dice and Dungeons. It could be more relaxing than having things messed up. But this is, I'm waiting for paint to dry. That's what I'm doing. So if I did this too quickly, the paint wouldn't dry, and then I'd just be sitting here with nothing to do at all. This way you can watch me file the top of a periscope receptacle tube. You'd think with a sophisticated model like this that wouldn't have to be doing all of this modification, but goes back to design versus manufacturing once again. Beautifully designed, not very well manufactured. Especially these. This is, anyway. Yeah. When I built one of these back in the 60s, and I think it was like in maybe 7th or 8th grade or something, so it would have been 64 or 65. These were fairly new kits back then. I don't remember having to modify these pieces much at all. Of course, I didn't paint them very much either. Just sort of glued them together. Cement this stuff together and then it's done. But I'm trying to make this look really cool this time, so I'm doing a lot of detail painting on the control panels and fire extinguishers and all these other things. Okay, that's pretty close. I'm not sure I want to take much more off of that before I test fit it. So I make sure that it's like even on top, not angled. It's easier, if it doesn't fit, it's easier to take a little bit off than it is to try to put more on. So there's one. We'll just measure it again. It's a little bit on the large side, maybe. Just a little bit big, but really close. That, and then measure the next one here. We'll see how the paint is coming along in terms of its dryingness. Yeah, I'm really, really tired. I didn't feel too bad earlier. Maybe it was the coffee is wearing off. But, yeah, it's lapsing into a little bit of incoherence. I'm going to try this X-Acto knife. There's a lot, as you can see, there's a fairly large amount that needs to come off, so I can cut it down like to there and then finish it with the file. I would like to do that and not on the cardboard. That doesn't work. Could just get a little saw probably, or a Dremel. But because I was expecting a kit that just sort of, you know, fit together, I didn't spend any time pulling together modeling tools other than the needle files. No one ever named the sub, but I think we should charge like double to name the sub. The double the usual amount, because the sub is a really big thing compared to just a single minifig, you know? Maybe what we could do is name individual compartments in the sub. That would be okay, and people could use up a lot of points that way. Is each compartment gets a name. So the compartments we have so far are the torpedo room, which is a very big compartment. You have torpedoes and bunks in there. And that's, I don't know why. I mean, I would not want my bunk up a 15-foot ladder. I mean, given the scale that we're working with on this, it looks like it's like you have to climb 15 feet, edge yourself along a narrow little ledge, tiny little narrow ledge, and then get into your bunk. Although I think in reality, they're not showing it here. You know, I'll show you this, and I'm not going to show you in reality, but I think that instead of just having bunks above this rack of torpedoes, I think in reality what it is that this deck would come all the way across, okay? And that there would be maybe at least 2, maybe 3 of these triple deck bunks on a deck that would go all the way across. So instead of this little narrow ledge, the whole thing would be that, and there would be room for at least a dozen, maybe 18 bunks on that level. But they wanted you to be able to see the torpedoes, so they cut that off. And it makes sense that it would be that way because there's fire extinguishers just hanging out here, you know, in the middle of nowhere. And that would make sense if this deck came all the way across and that there were more bunks up there. It's like a whole big bunk room instead of just one row of them. But that's the decision they made when they created the model. Smudge ball. But I measured twice, so you know, it should be right. If I compare it to this one, you know, that's the comparison. It's okay. I just need to file that down. Thankfully, it cracked up, not down. That is to say, it. The part that cracked was the part that's being filed off, and that's the part that's remaining. That would have been sad. Then I would have had to have gone to the other models and found the equivalent. So we have 40 minutes or so yet. Yeah, I'll be able to move along fairly well. I'm not sure I'll be able to get the second coat on the floor. Still a little tacky. I'll probably trim the third tube before I put the second coat on the floor. And after that, I'll check the painting on the inside of the hull and see if it's dry enough to be able to paint on the junction boxes and the control panels. I probably won't get the little knobs and buttons and stuff on the control panels done today because that'll still be wet, but it'll be close to being finished. But getting these periscope tubes done, if I can get them to fit and work, will actually be a really big deal in terms of completing this section of the model. I'm feeling like I would like to take a nap. Jet lag is not a very fun thing. Fortunately, I'm doing relaxing painting. I'm relaxing here. Yay. Yeah, those look pretty much the same. So there, 2 down. Let's get this one measured. This one's way long, the longest of them all by a lot. Do the same thing I did with the other one. It looks like it's split there, doesn't it? It's weird. I think that's just a flaw. You know, when I install it, I'll make sure that that's toward the back, because I'm not sure what's going on there. It's more than just a flaw in the paint. It looks like it's actually a flaw in the plastic. But it should be okay as long as I hide it. If I'd been prepared for this, I would have gotten out the Dremel maybe. Would be doing little stuff like this. And, you know, every little step is a step closer to completion. So next week, Wednesday, this might come really close. If not, if I am not able to get it all assembled, then there might be problems, you know, just with things not fitting at the last minute because of paint buildup, or looked like it would fit and now it doesn't because the submarine is fighting back against completion. Yeah, we should be able to get far enough along that I can start rummaging through the parts box again to start getting the pieces for the missile section. The 16 missile tubes and all of the decks that are associated with it. And if I can get this into the hull, you know, and it holds together pretty well, yeah, it'll look like I made some progress finally after, what, 2 months or something? However long it's been forever as I've been working on these sections. There's some fiddly bits yet that I'm not even sure how I'm going to do. There's some staircases that go from one deck to the other that are essentially invisible that somehow need to line up, and we haven't even test fit those yet. There's a ladder. The instructions just say stick this ladder here, and it isn't really clear where the. I mean, it's clear where the ladder is supposed to end up, but not to where it attaches on the lower deck. Anyway, there continue to be some additional some assembly issues that we'll be dealing with next Wednesday as these decks begin to approach completion. The other one came off really nicely, but this one is there we go. As it goes flying onto the floor somewhere. That I don't care about because it's just the excess plastic. See how close I am. Use the periscope to measure. Yeah, I got about a 32nd of an inch yet to go. Get ambitious and I don't know. I'd really like to make sure these fit before I paint them. It's really tempting to just paint them right away, and have it be done. But if I need to file some off again as I'm holding it like this, I don't want to be holding it against the paint. And I can't really test fit these until the second or even third coat is on the deck. Well, I mean, I can't. I suppose I could. Yeah. Do that. Maybe it's even a better idea to do it before these extra coats are put on, because then if things get scratched or something. It's a chance to fix it. Okay, handcrafts, yay! Didn't need that. All right. Put some of these things away. What needs to happen is that these tubes need to here. It's not much, but it's like even tiny little bits of a millimeter seem to be enough to mess things up. Yeah, this should be interesting. Okay, so this deck, this needs to be in here again. I don't know how many times this has come in and out. Like a half dozen at least. It's tricky to get in, but it can't stay in because of the way the decks are configured. Okay, so if I were to take one of these, like this one, and a pair of tweezers, what I should be able to do theoretically is slide it in here like this and push this is the periscope, down into the hole like that. Do that wrong. Shit. This is supposed to go all the way down like that. But I should have, damn it. What I should have done, but I didn't, is that I should have done it from the bottom to the top. Right? So I'm going to have to, in order for this to really work, what I really need to do is drill the hole out. I should have cut off from the bottom, and we're gonna see that the same issue happens now on these others. So, you know, it was too good to be true, right? I mean, it's just too good to be true that this would just work. And so it is. The joy this is, trying to get these to work. That's supposed to go into that hole, but it's not. I don't know. If I were thinking, I would have thought, okay, well, these things will go down and they stop when they hit the top there, right? So they could go down all the way. The hole in this tube could actually be all the way through, and it would work instead of it being closed off on the bottom. So yeah, what I should have been doing, obviously, is filing them off from the bottom and not the top, but I didn't. So now I'm going to have to, in order for this to really look right, I'm going to have to drill those holes out. All the way through. There we go. Yeah, so you have essentially the same issue here, is that it's up too high. So fortunately, I do have the little bitty drills, and I'll be able to reach down in there and drill that out, but it's not going to be very much fun to watch. Maybe I'll try to do it off stream. But if I'd filed these down from the bottom instead of the top, there would be a whole lot less to do, if any at all. So what I'm proving here, this is proof of concept, okay, is that it's actually possible to do that. It's actually possible to get these lined up so that they work, but that they stick up. They're supposed to be down so that they're smooth across the top and fit into these little divots that are nicely put into the top of the sail. Yeah, so they fit. They actually fit pretty well. Getting them to get in there, will be a little bit of work. Yeah, and it did scratch things up. But I need to drill the holes out all the way through to the bottom. But that's how they'll look, and they're going to be painted this color. So I'm not going to paint them because I'll need to hold them while I'm drilling. I need to get the drill in straight, But these shouldn't be sticking out like that, and I just feel stupid that I didn't test that. I didn't test it, and as a result, there's just going to be extra work that needs to be done to make it go the way it's supposed to. But it's close to being able to work. Just, there's more stuff that needs to be done because of things. Got plastic dust. Nice green paint. See if that can come off. Yes, it washes. Okay, well, there was one minor disaster there. I mean, it's not a huge thing. It's just time-consuming and annoying. But I know that these are the right height, that they fit, that the periscopes will go up and down inside of them. Okay? I just need to... pretty well there. I just need to drill them out. I just need to drill this hole all the way through the bottom. And it would have worked a whole lot better if instead of cutting that much off, 1/8 of an inch off the top, if I'd cut it off the bottom, then the hole would have been a lot closer to the bottom than it is. But I didn't realize that it was plugged up that far. I really expected that to be just this tiny little bit of plastic on the bottom that I didn't want to disrupt, but so it goes. What have I got here? Is it 1:45 already? No. I'm going to put another coat on here of this color. Cover up all scabby marks. It might need a third coat. The one good thing about this is if I have the right size drill, it will fit into that hole and it will go down far enough that I don't have to worry about angling off to the side or something. That it will go straight through because it will provide a guide for the drill as I'm turning it by hand. Well, anyway, that was unfortunate. It was unfortunate because it was going pretty well in terms of measuring and trimming and getting them to fit. But then just finding out that the plug on the bottom of these things was 1/4 of an inch long instead of like a 1/16 of an inch. And that I made the wrong call when I didn't have to. Kind of an own goal there. Ah, well. And, if anything goes really badly, I've got 2 additional kits from which I can extract these and start all over if I needed to, really. And that's kind of comforting to have that kind of redundancy. Okay, well, let's put more paint on this. And then we'll find out if we need 3 coats or whether 2 will be sufficient. The rare thing, not having enough paint up. But I'm trying to make sure that it is as brush mark free as possible. So this and this are control panels, and those will get painted gray at some point in the future. Yeah, it looks like it probably will need a 3rd coat, but that's okay. That'll do. That'll be a thing to do next time. And of course, all these slots are getting paint filled, but, you know, those get sanded or filed out. This paint levels, all these paints level pretty well as they dry. They look really lumpy at this point, but they clear up. There like I did before, and hopefully I won't knock it over a little later. Give this an alcohol wash. Hand's not real steady today, so I'm not quite sure how these painting the control panels and junction boxes is going to go. Guess we'll find out. Clean up this area a little bit at least to minimize the amount of potential mess or disaster or bumping or who knows whating that could happen. Yep, I haven't been able to ramble on about anything terribly interesting today. I was talking about what I'm doing and about being jet lagged. So these guys need to be drilled out. I'm going to put them in here for now. Okay. So what we have on the inside here, and the green paint is not fully dry because you can see the variation in the glossiness, but I think it's dry enough, is that, and I'll use this to point out, there's a couple of junction boxes up here, and I have a certain color I use for those. And then there are like control panel things here, 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 and here. And those are painted light gray. And they're raised, so I'm not going to worry too much about getting the edges. I'm going to make sure I get the surface. And most of these they're raised enough where it shouldn't be too much of an issue. I'm going to paint those two first, and then just to get that color out of the way, and then I'll get the light gray out and paint all of these. They have little buttons and knobs and things. I'm not going to get to that today, but I will be able to get to those next Wednesday. So far, things, they're not perfect, obviously, but it's coming along okay. And some of the detail is pretty neat, like I was able to get that control panel with the dials and things on it. What's that? There's a brown spot on there for some reason. I can't tell. Yeah, just some dust. I'm going to use the tiny brush for this, just, to keep the paint under control. This is the color of the junction boxes. Junction boxes and lockers, same color. Why? Because. Okay, well, at least I know that the periscope and radio antenna tubes will fit and that they work. It's just that they need to be drilled out because I didn't test them sufficiently before I cut them down to size. So, you pay one way or the other for some of these things, and then but those can be drilled out. And if for some reason that turns out to be a disaster, and there's always that possibility, I do have the backup kits that I can use to replace them. Get it? I'm just getting solvent. Mix it the old-fashioned way. I should almost put on my head magnifiers for this. Need to drag them out just for little bits like this, but we'll see how this goes. Now, let's see how this works. I'll use the bottle cap paint and see if it covers. Green there. I'm going to be persnickety, and I will be. I'll probably come back and touch that up. I don't know what's up with this paint. I must have thinned it a little too much because it's not adhering. You can put it up on the surface, but I'm going to have to do some touch up with the green just because this paint is not behaving. It's because that's too bad. I didn't want to have to retouch with the green, but the consistency of the paint is just way off. Maybe if I'm going to keep using this color, I should probably order a new bottle. I'll come back with the green and clean that dot in the bottom there where the paint just ran. And usually the light gray or the neutral gray, the control panels will work better. And it looks like I used up more time than I thought messing around with this. It's a 10-2 already. Yeah, I'm not going to. I'm just, I'm not steady enough. There's too much to do, and I'm running out of time. So unfortunately, I did not get done quite as much as I wanted to today, but I got done more than I usually get done. So I will recap. I painted the whole inside of all of these. I test fit a whole bunch of stuff, and then retest fit and retest fit. I got these down to the right size and tested them, so I know that these periscopes and radio antenna will actually work. Stuff is loose. It's just sort of, but not quite cemented in on purpose. I got 2 coats on the floor, which was a big move forward because then it'll be really close to the point where I'm going to be able to start putting it together. Put the green out. For some reason, I'm getting gray spots on the green there. I don't know why. That cube that's fine, but that one wasn't working. Yeah, and then green touch up here. I got some green touching up to do. I'm really tempted to do it now. I'm just going to I'm going to press my luck here. In the final minutes of the stream, I'm going to push my luck and do some green touching up and hope it's okay. Why not? The worst that can happen is I need to touch up in the other direction in the future. So there's a spot there that is gray, that is not supposed to be gray. Okay? There are spots here that are supposed to be green, but never got painted for some reason. spots up here that got overpainted. I put the gray on. Fix that. These conduits, these are supposed to be green, and they're not. I'm wondering if what happened was, yeah, that when I put the paint on, it wasn't thick enough in some of these areas, and now that it's drying, I'm seeing the flaws. It wouldn't hurt to put a second coat on, but I'm not going to because I don't want to. So. Yeah, that's enough dinking around with that. All right. This was a moderately successful return to Submarine Wednesday. I got the inside of the hull painted. The lines are really pretty close to where they need to be. Maybe minor touch-ups once things are assembled, if they show at all. If you can see them behind everything that goes into them. I got the floor of the control room painted with 2 coats, and it might need a third. I'm going to have to pull that over and put that away in a safe place. And the next steps are going to be to paint the control boxes on the inside of the hull gray, and then paint the detail of the dials and things up after that. So I'll be doing that next Wednesday, maybe putting a third coat on the floor if necessary. And then once that's dry, in fact, I'll put the third coat on first, because once that's dry, I can actually start putting pieces on. I can start assembling stuff. And then I need to drill out the periscope and radio antenna tubes, because they're not drilled all the way through. I thought they were, and they weren't. And I could have saved myself a lot of trouble by simply cutting off the parts, cutting off the bottoms instead of the tops, but I didn't do that. Anyway, there's a lot of pieces here that are all going to be put into the submarine maybe as soon as next week, Wednesday. If not, definitely the Wednesday after that. So thank you for joining in Relaxing Painting with Dice and Dungeons. There was actually some painting that happened today that doesn't always occur. I'm just getting these things, they're painted on both sides, a lot of them, so I'm putting them on the paper towels so that they don't scratch. And need to make room for the control room. We'll see how it looks. Let's see how it looks next week after it dries. It's pretty tacky right now. I can set this down. It's not painted on the bottom, but it's pretty tacky on the edges. And there's that. All right. You can see how this is coming together. This whole thing within the next 2 weeks will be filled with all of this stuff. all of these things here are going in there. It's pretty crowded. And then be moving on to this section here, which is where all the missile tubes are, and then this section here, which is where the reactor is. And then we just get into a whole bunch of machinery that turns the steam from the reactor through all of these compartments to a little propeller that turns around in the back. Let me start covering things up and putting them out of the way. I will start by putting some paper towels over these to protect them. Don't want the paper towel touching that floor because it is still tacky. So I'll do it this way. And I'm going to move that first, this whole box. Excuse me while I do that. I want to get it out of the way so it's safe. Definitely practicing my jet lag here. Words. I'm trying to say words. Huh. Yeah. Got things out of the way, so no matter what happens, I'm very unlikely at this point to hurt anything. Thank you for joining Relaxing Painting with Dice and Dungeons. I'm going to be gone this weekend, so you might be seeing Nicole on Friday or Monday or both or neither. I'm not sure. But, check in and see what's happening anyway. Please do that. And then I will be back next Wednesday and hopefully be making some real progress as we continue to see that submarine turning into a submarine. Yeah, that. And please consider joining us on Sunday at 2 o'clock Eastern, 3 Sundays a month with our Dungeons and Dragons campaign, because that's what Dice and Dungeons is all about, is Dungeons and Dragons. And our campaign continues, and it's really cool, and you should watch it either with live chat on Sunday or on YouTube or as a podcast later. I'll be back next Wednesday with more submarining, and in the meantime, take care, and if you can, check. I do not know what's going on upstairs. It doesn't sound good. Dogs are going wild. Maybe it's a good time. Maybe it's really a good time to end. But I'll be back next Wednesday. Check in on Friday and Monday, more or less at 10, to see if Nicole might be painting this. Thanks again. Take care. See you. Bye.